And welcome back to another episode of Cats Cut Podcast. You're here with your boys, Christian, Cody, Jake, and Blake.
I know. I can't believe it. They're live.
Yeah.
Oh, hey guys. Sorry. Hey.
So, how are we feeling, boys?
How are you feeling?
Buddy, I'm a little numb. Quite literally. Like, my left side of my face is numb.
Ouch.
That didn't work.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah. A little. So, how was your guys' day today, boys? Tell me, start from the beginning. Like, I want details, times, everything. Go ahead. Let's hear them.
I'm not going first.
Cody, tell them about those chairs, man. This is your chance to brag.
Let me tell you, I'm telling you, if I was at church and there was a bunch of women around, I carried about 8 chairs at once. Oh, Lord, buddy. Let me tell you, the women that would have been all over me, oh, goodness.
What a man.
He's going to put that on his resume.
That's what I'm going to say.
Professional chair stacker.
What's the most impressive thing you've done in life? I carried 8 chairs at one time.
Oh,
that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super impressive.
Yeah. You know what else is impressive? Cumberland Auto Rentals. They're here to serve you the great area of Harlan, Kentucky, Ewing, and Pennington Gap, Virginia. You can give them a call at their number on their website and Facebook page at 276-861-3072. It's great people over there. Just go check them out.
Don't they have like a car drop off too? Can't you don't they have a program where you can rent a car, drive it as far away as possible and leave and they'll come pick it up?
I love that idea, actually. We should give them that idea.
Yeah, I heard that the owner loves to fish. So he prefers if you drive them into the ocean so he can go fish them out.
Dude, I love that idea. That's the best idea I've ever heard in my life.
That's hilarious.
There's Red Leg. What's up, buddy?
Red Leg.
So, I mean, since the last time we went live, there's been quite a bit of stuff go on. Nothing major, though. Nothing that would impact the course of a whole program. Nothing like that has happened.
Oh, no, Jeff Ruby's filed for bankruptcy? Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. Hey. No, sir. The one in the Lexington one is going to take a massive hit, but the one in Louisville is gaining. They're about to triple.
I heard Mark Stoops is actually wanting to go to Louisville now for some reason.
Oh, my gosh.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. First on the report, Cody.
They're hiring him as team janitor, I heard.
That's what I heard. Through the loop.
Through the grapevine.
Yeah. That's what it is.
But before we get into the elephant in the room, let's go back a little bit further. Let's talk a little bit about Otega Oweh coming back to Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
So how we feel about that? Like, what went through your mind, like, kind of before, and then once he actually said he was coming back, was official?
It's a pretty big deal.
Pretty big. Oh, excuse me. That's huge. Amazing. Spectacular. Beautiful. Not just Christian. Christian's all those things in one, but it's okay.
Yep. It's his big belly.
That was the piece that Mark Pope was wanting, that he was needing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who he would have got if he didn't get Oweh. I'm glad that we ain't got to worry about that. So, yeah. But it was a great move. Great get. Glad he didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, Blake, what do you think the chances, like, what do you think about the team without Otega Oweh and now with him back? Like, what were your expectations if we didn't have him, and then now that we do have him back on the roster?
Mm-hmm. Well, without saying, one thing I want to say is Mark Pope last year, I feel like he hit on all of his portal players pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if he does that again, like, we were going to be fine regardless. But my main thing with Oweh is last year at times our team, I felt like, lacked toughness and physicality, and I feel like Oweh was probably one of, if not the only guy that actually embraced that in a lot of games. So if anything, I just feel like he brings the it factor of consistency back, someone that has that Mark Pope is going to be familiar with now, and such, and has proven to be a big time player in a lot of big games this past year. So I think just having someone that has proven he can be consistent, getting him back, and he can do whatever, Mark Pope needs him to do, whether that's on the defensive end of things, whether it's scoring, whatever. But main thing is I hope the entire team, hopefully he can lead as far as the mentality that they have. And I feel like the mentality part is what could push this team from, Sweet 16 like they were last year to really pushing, a Final Four and stuff, if they'll play with the tenacity that Oweh brings, I feel like, more so than anybody else did last year for the most.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm excited about, just having that guy that and you can count on and see how that goes. But I feel like it is a big boost. So.
See, I think one thing that hurt the team last year, like early on, is like you didn't know who the leader was. Like one game, like one guy would step up, the next game somebody else would be. And I think getting Oweh back this year, after the run he had in February and March, I think he took that next step and became the leader of the team. And I think getting him back in that second year in this system with Pope, and now you've got other guys around that are coming back too. I mean, I think getting Garrison back, that's going to be huge as well. But getting Otega Oweh back has me thinking one thing and one thing only.
Number 9.
Number 19. I can't.
And let me say this about last year's team. I think Butler was a leader, but it's hard for your leader to be on the bench hurt as much as he was. And see the impacts of it on the floor. Like, I get you can still be a good teammate, on the sideline. But if Oweh can stay healthy and your leader is on the floor most of the time, I think that makes a big difference as well.
I agree.
100%.
I agree. So, Cody, let's hear your thoughts on it all. Okay.
Oh, sorry, I was counting. I forgot. Trying to count how many championships.
Not one, not two, not three.
But like y'all were saying, I think having Oweh back, arguably the best player we had on the roster last year. Having his experience coming back, being a leader in the soccer room, because we've got, like, basically besides him, Brandon Garrison, Trent Noah, and Colin Chandler is the only 4 guys we got coming back from last year's squad.
Mm-hmm.
So having him back, and him being the leader of the group, and having all these new guys in, and some of these Malachi and the other young guys coming in, it's going to be huge experience wise for them. And I'm just super excited to watch him ball out, because I think he's going to have another good year, probably a better year this year. Maybe what's the award called for best player of the country? Is it
Heisman?
There's a bunch. There's like different ones.
He's going to do what Oscar did. He's just going to take all of them. Just take them all.
I think he's going to win the Heisman.
I agree. I like the Heisman. I think he might win MVP, like NFL MVP.
I like it.
NFL.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl MVP.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's going to be huge. I'm excited to watch the basketball team next year, because I have really high hopes. Like, the floor for me is Final Four. I might be getting a little too optimistic here in the month of June about the basketball team, but I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
Man.
I think everybody's super excited. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, On3 Sports right now has us pre-ranked 5th. If the season was to start today, we would more than likely be 5th, which is a really good place to start out. It obviously doesn't matter till March, but it's something to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure.
Any early season games that we're sort of looking forward to? Like
Purdue. That's a big one, because right now,
is that a scrimmage though?
It's a scrimmage, but Purdue's looking to probably be preseason number 1 or number 2 next year, this upcoming season. So that'll be a big one. That'll probably be one of the biggest scrimmages in ever, even though it's a scrimmage.
We got Gonzaga pretty early again.
We've got Gonzaga.
Does anybody know how Gonzaga? I know Gonzaga was not your normal Gonzaga.
Did they lose anybody?
They weren't. I think they lost a few seniors. I can't remember exactly who those people were. I had it pulled up here. I want to say they were supposed to be pre-ranked top 25 as well, but I can't remember that. They are returning players from last year. They just had a really rough start to their season. If they had gotten a better record, obviously they would have had a better seed, obviously an easier road. They destroyed Georgia in that first round. It was like a mollywhopping, if you will. Yeah. And then they just got fed to the Wolves in the second round. So what can you do?
Yeah, that's true. But, moving forward just a little bit, I'm ready to talk about this. I'm ready to crash out a little bit. So when you guys got the news about Vince Morrow going to Louisville, did you guys think it was fake at first?
Yeah. I did.
Bet you, Blake.
Seen it coming from a mile away.
Yeah, there was too much smoke.
Christian, he's seen it coming from before Cumberland Avenue. Like, he's seen it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm almost there, guys.
Only big Christian.
Turn on Cumberland Avenue.
Now I'm turning around the corner right now, promise.
Right now.
It's like,
No,
I think that's what Marrow told Louisville for the past 3 years. He was getting ready. He was coming down the street. He's just he's right there on his way.
Yeah.
And I mean, it felt like anytime there was an opening at other schools, you heard Michigan State, Michigan. I heard Bowling Green there for a little bit. Believe Toledo.
That was head coaching.
Bell High.
Yeah.
Or Rockcastle. Redbird. If Redbird was looking for a head coach. Thomas Walker. Heard they were needing one. So.
Yeah.
Southeast.
Southeast. Yeah, they're starting up the rattlesnakes over. They're getting ready.
It's the Foxes. Get it right, man.
Oh, the Foxes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, what was one of the first thoughts you had about it? Once you realized it was a legit release, it actually happened.
Recruiting's going to change substantially in the future. You're going to see how much of an impact Vince had in the recruiting process. So many of the past players that Kentucky's had that's made great impacts were recruited by Vince. So you're going to see a major change in the type of players we get. It's going to be a completely different team, assuming we keep Stoops.
Yeah. Little timeout on this. I would love to talk about this, but Quidditch, is that a real thing? I thought that was just a game from Harry Potter.
No, it's not. Okay, no, it's not. I don't think it's real. It could be. It actually could. I'm gonna look it up on YouTube.
Is
on YouTube? Is Quidditch a real sport? Yes, Quidditch, the sport made famous by the Harry Potter books and movies, is a real sport. Primarily known as quad ball. It's been adapted from the fictional world and is played with a team of 7 players on each side, including chasers, beaters, a keeper, and a seeker.
So it's
Cody, which one are you? Cody, are you a chaser or beater or
I'm
a seeker?
beater.
Which one?
Dude, it's a real thing. They're running around. With
Christian, we can start calling Cody Chris Beard.
They're running around with broomsticks. They're running around with broomsticks with a ball in their hand, dude. I'm watching the University of Texas versus some other school in Quidditch right now.
That's got to be intramural or something.
No.
Are they ranked? Who has the best Quidditch team in the nation?
I'm looking it up.
I feel like it would be Pennsylvania or somebody like that area.
I bet Scotland has a main Quidditch team.
West Virginia is the number 1 Quidditch team in the country.
The Miners, baby.
The Miners.
Awesome. Your top 4 is West Virginia, Boston College, Harvard, and Marquette.
Boston College and Harvard.
Harvard makes a lot of sense. Harvard and Boston College. That's not no sense.
West Virginia.
They got a bunch of hillbillies running around.
I know, but no hillbillies are practicing Quidditch.
Well, according to them, they are.
I mean, you don't know. I mean, that might be. What if it's bigger than football there?
Probably is.
Okay, and apparently in the UK, it's a huge thing because they have a thing called the.
So how do they get the broomsticks to
It's
go?
called the Quidditch Premier
Engine
League.
powered.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's called quad ball. Like Jake said, it's called quad ball now.
quad ball. But
Like,
alright.
I mean, they are running around with sticks between their legs and throwing a ball through hoops. I kid you not. That's what they're doing. This guy just ran over a girl. He just ran over a woman. He just ran her over. I kid you
breaking
not.
news.
Dude, I kid you not. They're running over each other in this. Throwing balls at each other. What am I watching?
Are you sure you're not watching rugby?
No, I must send you all the video. It's just, what is he headbutting him for?
Gotcha.
Why is there two balls? Why is one ball being thrown at someone and then one of them's getting thrown in the hoop? Why is there two balls? Now this guy's dancing. Why is he dancing? He's not even wearing the same uniform as everybody else. What is he doing? Yeah, let's get back on topic.
Back to the regular.
Go back to the regular.
scheduled show. Going back to Vince Morrow leaving. Honestly, since we got Eddie Grand back, he's been a big part of recruiting.
Recruiting, okay. Recruiting.
So
Cody is still watching that video.
Sorry, I figured out what's why the guys running around in all yellow. Do you guys know the little golden snitch that runs? He's a snitch. He's running around. They're trying to catch him. I just read it back in the shirt. It's like they're playing. Okay, go back. I got turned off. That's the best thing I've ever seen.
But okay, we'll get your guys' opinions on it. Go back to what you were saying earlier, Jake. I know you were talking about.
Sorry.
Oh, recruiting. I was just talking about how recruiting is going to be a major difference. Assuming we keep Stoops in the future ongoing, you're going to see a lot of different teams. But you just brought that point up about Eddie Grand.
Mhm.
And I guess, on the recruiting standpoint, he's made an impact, but Vince was recruiting, the first thing to come to mind when you talk about recruiting at Kentucky football, you think of Vince Marrow. So, I mean, for all we know, Stoops may have somebody that's going to fill the shoes real quick. Someone younger, I don't know, but only time will tell. I'm not very optimistic about it, though.
I think I wasted money on
Cody.
tickets. Sorry.
Cody, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I think I wasted some money on football tickets. But if this is the point to where this might be Mark Stoops last year, I think it could turn into like a little basketball moment. It's like, we're getting rid of the old junk and we're going to bring in someone new.
Yeah.
We've been in a certain spot for way too long. Now it's time to elevate it and get somebody that's going to take us to the next step, like Mark Pope. I think he's taking us to a different level already than what Cal had us at.
Yeah.
So Blake will highly disagree with me on that.
Nah, I agree. I just like hearing you use words like elevate and you sound sophisticated, man.
Well, thank you. That made me feel good. No, but I think that
Put this man on TV.
I can't wait to
This man a
be
microphone.
I can't wait to be in the loop to where, like, what kind of coaches are going to be coming to UK next year? You got is it Mike Hartline at Ohio State? Is it Mike or
Brian.
Mark?
Yeah.
Brian?
No,
No, it's
Mike's
Mike.
at Kentucky.
Mike's the quarterback that played at Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about. I thought you said Ohio State.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm talking about head coaches, and I'm saying Brian would be a candidate for
yeah.
the coaching job. Obviously, John Summerall. I think that's the guy everybody wants to see back at UK.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's going to be interesting to see who we go get. Do we go get a young guy? Do we go get one of them two, or do we go with somebody that's got a lot of experience? Vince and has a girlfriend that's like 20 years old. You know, we could do that and pull North Carolina. Who knows? I don't know. But
Get Billy Belichick here,
we could.
pronto.
No, I'm just excited for that. I hate to see Vince leave. I feel like he's been with the program so long. Do I blame him? Not really.
But Louisville?
That's the part that I don't like. I hate that he went to Louisville. Now, if he would have went somewhere else, I don't think this would have been that big of a deal.
No, dude, like
That's true.
he's dead
You know
to
what I
me,
mean?
bro. It's Louisville.
Yeah.
I like this thing. I seen it earlier. It was a Matt Jones KSR. They were on the radio, and this guy called in. He goes, "Dude, I just seen Vince Merrill at a Dunkin' Donuts, and I just gave him the L's down. Like after all the news come out, and about an hour, or like 10 minutes later, he comes on after a break, and he goes, I just got a call from Vince, and he said he's seen the guy that done it. But he said it wasn't an L's down, it was a middle finger. He said he was giving him a double bird.
That's
So
funny.
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah.
But that just the guy that has been with us for so long,
Yeah.
and has like been so heck. Every time I see a video with like when we play Louisville, it's always Vince. Vince is always in it,
Yep.
screaming for some reason because it's how much he hates Louisville. Now it could have been more money. It could have been, like I said, Mark.
It's about the same.
Him knowing Mark Stoops, maybe he knows that this is Mark's last couple of years. Hopefully this is his last year. No, nothing bad about Mark, but I just think it's time for a change. Because I don't know about you all, I'm kind of get sick and tired of we're going
4-8.
I'm tired of 4-8 and occasionally winning 8 games and going to a bowl game and maybe winning, maybe not. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of it.
Yeah.
So I'm ready for a change. I think it's going to be a fun season. I feel like we're going to win some games that we shouldn't win this year. We can talk about that a lot more when it gets a little bit closer and we actually are getting really close.
Yeah.
So I'm again excited. Sucks that Vince is gone. It's time to put that in the past. It's time for motivated Mark Stoops. We'll see how many wins he gets. I'd say he probably want to get 4. But
Yeah.
No.
So Blake, what are your thoughts on it all?
Well, Mark Stoops' right-hand man leaves for your rival. So to me, that tells me, and I may be in left field, but I think that, this is a do or die year for Mark Stoops. I mean, most of the fan base feels like he's got to change something. Much like Calipari's last year with like Reed Shepherd and them. Like that was his year that if he had done something in the tournament that year, we probably don't have Mark Pope right now. And, we're
right.
still with Cal. I feel like this is that year for Mark Stoops. Depending on what he does, we may have a new guy with maybe not next year, but definitely within 2 years, probably next year if he has an absolute failure of a season. And to me, Vince Merrill getting out now probably says that he understands that. And I think that it says he doesn't have the confidence that it's going to get turned around this year. So to me, that probably is the biggest issue with someone like that leaving is what is the confidence inside the program concerning the results this year. To me, it looks like there's not a whole lot of internal confidence, no matter how motivated, Mark Stoops says he is. Must not be translating very well to the coaching staff or at least to Vince. And, not the best in my, as far as I'm aware, not the best recruiting, this spring either. So nothing's really changing on that end of things. So I think it just serves to show that, maybe Merrill doesn't think that Stoops turns it around this year. And I don't know, does he not want to be around when things go south and, UK cuts ties with Stoops or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll wait and see how things pan out once the season actually gets here. I think what are we favored to win? 3 or 4 games right now?
I thought it was 4.
None of them.
I think it's 3.5 or 4.5 or something like that.
I mean, that's an extremely, extremely low win total. And My biggest thing is, when is our last SEC win at home?
22, 23. Florida? Was it Florida?
Maybe, but listen,
Red
here's the deal.
Ants game?
Mark Stoops has too many incentives to go winless at home in conference play for back-to-back years. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, we're not asking you to do something crazy, but my biggest thing is, I think Stoops, he's been there through the portal. He's seen everything he's going to see. He's shown you what he can do. He can get you to bowl games, pretty consistently. He's never going to be a consistent 10-win team in my eyes. He might get you there every 5-6 years, whatever. Sure. But he's shown you that he's 6 to 8 wins, more than likely. And unfortunately, like last year, with the way the SEC is going, you might be getting close to that 5-7 and 6-6 range more often than you are getting to that 7-5 and 8-4 range now. So,
yeah,
I don't think it spells anything good for us. I'll say that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it stems from Stoops, like that little 2-3 hour part where we all thought Stoops was going to Texas A&M. I think a lot goes back to that, because you beat Louisville at Louisville 2 years ago, and then later that night it gets announced Mark Stoops to Texas A&M. That had to be a lot of talking between, because I know they said that Stoops, Liam Cohen, and Lil Dog now had a lot of conversation about like staying there, keep building up Kentucky. And I think a lot of rifts began there. And then you have a horrible season last year. Like, you're supposed to have one of the best rosters in a long time. Like, I mean, you've got your 2 big recruits you got 2 years ago, Barryon and Dane Key. They're supposed to be these fantastic receivers. You got the former 5-star quarterback Brock Vandergrift coming in, and you go out there and you're 4-8. Your only win in the SEC is on the road. It's just, I think, like you said, Blake, I think he just got out of Dodge while he could. And that has to say a lot when your dude that's been there from the beginning
gets out.
Yeah, gets out. And
to your rival, out of all play. Like,
your bigger in-state rival.
And I'll say this too, I seen where KSR, and I think this will be really telling, because if this is the case, then expect a complete implosion. I mean, you might win a few games here and there, but KSR sort of said that he was the duct tape that held everything together, and that's the guy that every player went to, no matter what their problem was. They said, if they had a parking ticket or if it was about playing time, Vince is who they went to. And so now you remove one of the few good things that we had last year. And obviously not even sure who's going to step into a role like that. I mean, that could be serious a disaster from day one, if all that stuff is accurate, and if the rest of the staff doesn't come up with some sort of. And Mark Stoops has to, much like, Cal or even Mark Pope, at the end of the day, if you're the head coach, you're a head coach for a reason. You got to be able to shoulder most of the responsibility. So it's up to him to turn things around. So I know assistants do make a difference, but Mark Stoops is still the head coach. So his job is, in this age, you're going to see a lot of players and coaches go. So he's got to figure out how to work those things out and keep the program, hopefully get it back on the right track.
Well, and even going back to, like, I think I want to say it was around that time that all that A&M stuff came out. I remember me and Cody talking about, like, if whoever the next head coach is, like, they've got to keep Vince. Like, they have to keep him. He's got the pipeline in Ohio. And I think that's going to be a bigger hit than anything, is losing one of the best states in the nation for high school, like, produced athletes. Like, I mean, they just pump out the 4 and 5 stars out of Ohio. And I mean, that's where a lot of our players come from.
Yeah.
And we're losing that now.
Let me ask you guys. I mean, let's play a hypothetical. Okay. Coming in this year, Stoops has another.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a disaster of a season.
Sure.
Okay. And let's say that Kentucky does move on from Stoops.
Mhm.
Okay. You know, that's like Cal's tenure at Kentucky is so it is such a variety because at the very beginning you had the high of highs,
Mhm.
and you know, in his middle part of his tenure at Kentucky, you still had some good teams, not as good as like the John Wall and Anthony Davis teams, but they were really good, really competitive. Then the last few teams really, started going off where they just weren't performing. How do you feel about moving on from someone like Mark Stoops, who historically you can make a great argument for our program as far as the things that he's done? But do you not feel like that is a little bit like Cal? I mean, he comes into a program that is hard to build up, and now at the end of his tenure, the production is sort of. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Two different programs, apples to oranges. I get that. Not saying exactly the same.
I think the one thing that was better for Cal, well, in the retrospect of it all, is like Kentucky basketball was already established, 7 championships before Cal. I mean, you had a ton of just phenomenally great basketball players come through Kentucky.
And that's what I'm saying. Historically, what Stoops has done, I mean, I think you make a great argument that Stoops is, what he's done for the program is no doubt, give credit where credit is due. As a fan, though, how do you feel about moving on from a coach in a program like that? Like I said, outside of him, things get really bleak. I mean, as aggravated as we are with him right now, I mean, how do you feel? How do you feel like watching him go? What do you feel like would need to be done? Whether it's a new head coach, like possible people, and what do you think the future would look like without him? If that makes sense.
It all depends on who we get. I think that's
exactly
a big part of it. I've got 4 guys I'm really interested in at taking over, and I think they all bring different things to the table.
Sure.
And so, number one, the one all Kentucky fans love, John Sumrall. He brings back.
Let me just say, if John Sumrall does come back, that means that our basketball coach played for us, and then our football coach also played for us.
Yep. And
I'm just saying, it started out with Mark and John. Now it's ending with John and Mark.
Yeah. That's true. And I mean,
I could really see John Sumrall come back. I really could. I'll be quite honest.
Yeah.
Didn't he say some pretty choice words about Vince Marrow leaving?
I mean, the only thing that I seen him post on Twitter after all that happened was he said "roll wave," which is Tulane's thing. Or whatever. But I could look real quick.
See, I read right through that though, because you got to act like you want to keep your job. I mean, the job's not open yet, so he has to have a backup plan just in case Kentucky does continue to employ Mark Stoops. But I think what John Sumrall would bring to Kentucky's football program would be kind of that same approach that Mark Pope has took to the basketball team, and he brings back. He knows what it is. He knows how the Kentucky fans are. He knows the bluegrass state, and if we can get him back, I think he'd bring that same approach. And you go look at his track record already. I mean, he's not been in a powerhouse school yet.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he's done phenomenal jobs. He's won everywhere he's been. So, I think that would be a great hire. Number 2, Brian Hartline. I think what he does recruiting is amazing. I think he could be a phenomenal offensive coordinator. And one thing I think we would go to more of a play action 5 wide type offense if we got him, because he's so good with receivers. He could get huge athletes because, I mean, go look at his track record at Ohio State. Look at all the talent he's brought in at wide receiver. I mean, it's just been insane. And I think that would be a good approach. Third one, Jake, you might hate me for this one. Tommy Rees. I think that would be a good hire. You go back to his days at Alabama. The offense looked pretty good. And then you're about to see what he brings to the table with the Browns this year. I think can't really go all out on what he brings there because, I mean, offense isn't quite up to NFL standards 100% yet, I don't think. Number 4 is, oh, man, I just blanked on his name. He's the Commanders OC.
Nick Saban.
He coached at Texas
Cliff
A&M.
Kingsbury?
Yes. Kingsbury. I think he could come in and right off the rip have us like top 25.
Well, if we're gonna say that, you know who I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say Joe Brady. Buffalo.
I've seen somebody comment Lane Kiffin, and I have said for a few years, like, if I don't even know if it's possible, but like even past couple years, if you gave me the choice, if you said, you know, get rid of Mark Stoops or take Lane Kiffin right now, I would have chose Lane Kiffin over and over and over again. Because here's the deal. I'm confident Lane Kiffin would start winning from day one.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I would like to see somebody like that, like, you're very confident that they can come in and start winning from day one.
And in these close games, like going back to the Georgia game last year, we had Georgia beat. Like, we had them.
I never, even though we led most of the game, not one time in the entire game did I start thinking that we had them. Just because the way, you know, Georgia is. And that sucked, leading the entire game and never feeling like we had them beat.
Oh, he didn't have control of the ball. It was an interception. That was not an interception for a touchdown.
Yeah, that killed it, man. But yeah, it's like I feel like we get in these close games and these close battles, and we just get out coached. Clock management bad.
I think Stoops coaches to not lose a lot. Instead of just trying to win, it's like he's almost scared of losing games that everybody thinks you're going to lose. Why are you scared of losing them? You know, just, I mean, go all out and play. I mean, play with some guts and go for the win. And if you win, great. If you lose, well, guess what? You know, you'll probably pick to lose the game against Georgia or whoever, depending on who it is.
Yeah. But John Summerall is obviously the best choice with, you know, the history and obviously his background. The ones that you didn't mention that I would think would be worthy of the list is it Curt Cignetti? He would be someone.
He just signed a huge contract with Indiana.
Well, with college, I mean, they sign a contract, and the next thing you know, they're somewhere else after they've signed a contract. It's so weird.
The only thing with that is we would have to buy out 2 coaches right then. We'd have to buy out Stoops, and then we'd have to buy out Cignetti. And then we'd have to pay Cignetti.
True.
So, I mean, that would be 3 contracts right there.
Yeah,
and
good point.
That would be the only – but I was big on the Cignetti train last year, dude. Trust me, I was like gung-ho about getting him at Kentucky.
Okay. What about the guy from Vanderbilt?
Oh.
No one picked him up. I thought someone was going to steal him this year, and he's still there.
Yeah.
I figured somebody would eventually get him, but he would still be on the table after this upcoming season because after this upcoming season, he's got a lot of upcoming seniors that's going to be gone. And I don't know that the transfer portal is going to be like up and coming for Vandy as much as it would Kentucky. So Kentucky would be the sexier option, if you will.
Yeah. What about prime time by getting him in the SEC?
What about Chip Kelly?
Well, Brian Kelly.
What about Jimbo Fisher?
Oh.
What about Garrett Riley?
What about Nick Saban?
Do you guys know who Garrett Riley is? Though? Who is his brother?
Garrett Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
Really?
Yeah, he is the offense coordinator at Clemson. Garrett
Oh.
Riley. Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
Well, you know what would be hilarious is if we went and got Bob Stoops.
That would be funny. That would be funny.
Yeah. What
That would
if
be good.
no, okay. Just wishful thinking here. Imagine we do get like a Deion Sanders coaching at Kentucky. Like, how quick do you think we turn into like a media,
Colorado.
yeah, like a media hype college football team?
Well, if you get the right guy, I mean, you take somebody like Deion, it's going to be
Yeah,
as soon as he gets there. I mean, you know what I mean?
yeah. Red Lake
In
City
my
ain't doing that.
No, he-
I think it's about honestly, to be quite honest with you, I think it's about time for Barnhart to get out too. I'm getting a little tired of him too.
Oh, big
Cody,
words.
how about you for our next?
I'll do it.
What about
Hey,
Patina?
I'll get Patina in here. He'll be our new athletic director. He'll get us straightened up.
I'd say he'll be there for a good while. I don't see him leaving anytime soon.
Blake will love me too. I'll get Cal. Give him money. He can't refuse to be GM of Kentucky basketball. Pair with Mark Pope. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hire Vince Marrow, then fire him and tell him he can go back and sit at his house, watch Louisville football, and then I'm going to go get Nick Saban, tell him to be GM of Kentucky football, offer him like $250 million. He can't refuse.
So Cody is going to single-handedly cause taxes in Kentucky to be,
Quadrupled.
like everybody's going to be paying 10 times what they are in taxes.
But guess what? Kentucky faithful are going to be like, I'll pay those taxes if Kentucky football and basketball win championships. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you could.
Red Leg, am I right? Hold on. Let Red Leg answer.
I think he lives in Ohio, so I don't think you'd have to pay the
Oh.
tax.
If he lived in Kentucky, it don't matter.
But yeah, the only thing with Summerall that might concern me just as shade is, I believe Jacob brought it up here in the comments. Is he able to compete with other SEC schools on recruits?
Who now? Say
True.
Summerall, like can he recruit at a high level?
Don't
I
know.
think he can.
Because I think the
That's a good
recruiting for Tulane is a lot different than recruiting in an SEC school.
Agreed.
So either way, but yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic for this season. I'm hoping there's like a small sliver of hope in my body that's like, this is actually going to get a fire lit under the Kentucky football program and they're going to go out there and kick some tail.
That would be great.
All 12 of them.
Yep.
That's another thing about it. I'm just hoping nobody leaves right now.
Yeah,
Just
and the
hope
timing was
nobody
strange.
leaves.
Very.
I've never heard of anybody leaving in June, 2 months before football season kicks out.
Oh, another thing about it is at the beginning of the year, he's like, I ain't leaving Kentucky. I bleed blue for life. Now we're going to bleed red. Which is
You cut me open, Cody. I didn't wear that suit for nothing, did I? I mean,
You did.
you cut me
I wore
open.
this blue
bleed
suit
blue.
because I've bled blue my whole life.
That's true.
You two don't know what we're talking about, so it's okay. Nobody knows it but me and Blake. So, go with it.
I hope Vince Marrow is wearing a blue suit.
But John Summerall, in my opinion, would be the first person I would hardcore go after.
Agreed.
I think after this season, if Mark's gone and if you somehow get John Summerall, you better keep Brad White. Do not let Brad White go anywhere. And do not let, you know what, let everybody else go. Just keep Brad White. You know, tell everybody they can hit the road. Go find it. Go get a whole new staff.
I got a
But
question
I
for you
think you-
three.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Obviously, you want to win in football.
Of course, yes.
What are you? What would be the record, I guess, or what would be the end result of this season that try to figure out the best way to word it that you feel like would give Mark Stoops, like at what point are you saying, okay, I would like to do better, but yet okay, we need to keep Mark Stoops this year. Like let's say he doesn't have a 4-8 season. But how do you feel about a very average 6 or 7 win season?
Like, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you.
Agreed.
Like, are you to the point that you would instead of him getting 6, 7 wins and keeping him, would you rather take a big fall this year to go get someone new?
I think either way, I think he's
You
gone.
personally.
I don't care if he only wins against Toledo and Eastern Michigan, Tennessee Tech.
No, but what I'm asking you, let's say you get 6
I'm
wins.
fine with it. I'll be
and
honest
he
with you, I'd be
stays.
fine with it.
Would you?
because
You would okay. You
I'm-
would rather
I'm-
have.
I'll tell you why, because I'm expecting it. I'm not expecting us to, especially like we may not even win an SEC game because we've got Ole Miss, South Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, Auburn, Florida, Vandy. And the tougher games, yeah, we got at home, but what have we done at home? We ain't done crap at home. against SEC
Especially
teams.
against tough teams.
It's basically like it's a away game. It's like we don't even have a home court advantage.
Well, and
I'll be quite honest with you, we may not beat Toledo.
Wow.
I'm telling you, we may not beat Toledo.
You want to put
Toledo's
money
gonna
on
be
it?
a- I'll put money on that. Toledo may beat us by a field goal. I'll be honest
Put
with
the
you. I will.
mortgage on it. Put the
I'll put
mortgage
my house
on
on
it.
because it's
With the house and the farm. House and the farm.
like it's just ridiculous that I can look here and be like, oh, Vandy. Usually when we talk about Vandy, that's a win,
Mhm.
right?
Not
No, it's not. It's not because they've got actually a decent head coach that does decently in recruiting, and that you get out coached by him. Auburn,
Okay.
you're gonna get out coached. You're gonna get out coached against Florida. You're gonna get out coached against Tennessee, Texas, Georgia. You're gonna get out coached against South Carolina. You're gonna get out coached against Ole Miss. You may even get out coached by Tennessee Tech. I don't even know who the crap their head coach is, but he's got to be better.
Jake,
than Mark
what do you
Stoops.
think? What would you rather take another bad season, get rid of him, or are you happy with a very mediocre season that guarantees probably another season of just being mediocre down the road?
I don't know that a mediocre season, even at this point, would keep Mark Stoops' job. I mean, I could be wrong. If we just go 7-5 and shock the world, they may be like, let's give the guy one more year. I do think it's time to move on.
Barnhart would get rid of him?
And
It's hard to say.
Any kind.
I don't have that much confidence in Barnhart that he would get rid of him at 7-5.
3 things would have to happen, or 3 kind of options I think it would take in that situation. I think Stoops would have to have another job kind of line up for him, and they would just have to want him really bad, buy out that contract.
Yeah.
Stoops would have to be willing to negotiate down a buyout.
Yeah.
Or it's just utterly just horrible. Like, I mean, just beyond repaired. There's no future at all. Like, I mean, like even worse than what we're thinking about. Like just winless. Like, I mean, you don't matter the amount of money. You got to get him out because you're not going to have a fan base that next year.
Yeah.
In games.
I could see him pulling a Calipari from last or 2 seasons ago and just leaving and be like, hey, my road here is done. I'm going to take another job somewhere else.
But the thing is,
helping us in a sense.
The thing is there a school willing to buy out that massive contract? Like, I mean, you got to have a bigger payroll and donors to be able to buy that out. Because I mean, what is it like? It's close to 30 million.
If Stoops opts out and decides he wants to leave, doesn't that like take the contract off of our hands? Because didn't that same thing work with Calipari? We didn't have to buy Calipari out.
It was in his contract that if he talked to his school without notifying the university, then the contract voided out if he took a job. Like, we didn't have to pay it.
So that same thing doesn't apply to Stoops?
I don't know if it's in the contract or not, but
okay.
No, it's just it goes right back to Mitch Barnhart. Like, you can tell he could give a crap about the football program. I'll be quite honest with you.
But I
Because
think Barnhart is
hold
a
on.
football guy, so why would he not want to do
I don't think he's a
whatever
football
he
guy.
can?
I don't think
You
he
don't.
is. I think he's a basketball guy.
I mean, look at the
Now-
facilities he's put in. Like, I mean, that's the thing with
I
that.
think he's a
Yeah, I
football
know
guy.
he's
think
put all the
he's a
nice
football-
facilities in, but let's go back to 2022 when he gave Mark Stoops that contract to like what 2028, 2030. What did Mark
22.
Stoops?
What?
He
Never
gave
mind.
him the contract extension in 2022. What the crap did he do in 2022? Oh yeah, we beat Florida.
That
You
was
went
early
three-
2022. It was
You
after the
went
21 season.
3-5 in conference play, and then you won 76 and got beat 21-0 by Iowa. Like there is, Mitch Barnhart. I'm getting sick and tired of him because besides basketball, none of your other programs are going anywhere else now. Because baseball just crapped
Volleyball.
themselves this year. Volleyball, they've been crapping themselves.
Our track and
Baseball-
field ain't too bad, are they?
Ain't that the truth? And
And then
baseball just had a down year.
Our rifle team's pretty good, I
Like
think.
our baseball team had a
Minjion-
good year last year, but they weren't doing very good.
Our EA
Yeah,
Sports
Minjion said
team.
it was a rebuild year because you lost a lot of seniors last year.
Barnhart, in my opinion, I wish he would just apply for NCAA commissioner because I've heard that he's thought about that. Someone said that he was thinking about doing that.
I think Barnhart's a little too passive at times. You know, I do.
Yeah, I think
Not a
he.
little bit. I think he's way too passive.
But I do think he favors football. So that's why I'm like, why wouldn't he? You know,
I
Well,
think he's a people person though, because I think he lets guys like he realizes they're actually people. Because like, you know, we're as fans, we don't care. Like we're just like, you're not getting your job done, get out. Like one of them things. And I think he kind of looks back at like what he's done, because I think he did that with Calipari too. Like kind of let him ride out a few years. Because like I mean, if Cal hadn't went to Arkansas,
right.
he would have been our coach last year. Like he wasn't going to fire him. So
But
I
now
think
that was a situation like, could you? I mean, yeah, you could have fired Cal, but golly, I mean, he did you a favor by not holding you ransom for money.
yeah,
I mean,
which I think Stoops will.
you know,
But going back to your question earlier, Blake, you said, what would it take for me to be like okay with keeping Stoops around another year? I think one of two things have to happen. I think he has to either like just have a insane year, like 11-1, 12-0 top year. Like, I mean, just kicking butt and taking names, winning an SEC championship top season. Don't think that's happening. The second option is he'd have to have a top 5 recruiting class in the nation with multiple 5 stars and go about 7-5, 8-4, somewhere in there. I think that's what it would take for me to be like, all right, yeah. I mean, if you got a promising future,
Sure.
but as we sit here right now, we have 2 recruits for next year's season. Usually we have about 10 to 12, maybe 15. You know,
it's really frustrating. It's just frustrating.
But
we'll be all right though.
See, I think I'm leaning towards the fence of like if the option is bad season, get rid of him, or 7-5 and he's here another year.
Yeah.
Like if that's your only 2 options, I think I'm leaning towards the let's get rid of him, take one more bad year, and find somebody else.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think we should move on to our final segment of this podcast to kind of brighten up the mood a little bit. You know how we do it. We always talk about the Lord at the end. So Cody, I know you've been messaging me a little bit today. I know you're pretty eager to get to the segment.
I was going to ask you guys. I feel like, because I know all we really do is just give the verse and that's it. It's like the last 2 minutes what we do. Would you guys be okay if like where we do an hour, when we get to the 50-minute mark, that's when we do our Bible stuff. So that's the last 10 minutes of what we talk about. How are you guys with that?
I'm good with that. We just have to keep a watch of the time because we get into some of these conversations and we lose track.
We get so mad and angry at Mark.
I know.
We're ready to cuss him out and then plead the blood over.
Oh gosh. No, that's why I was about to ask you all see if that was okay, if you all wanted to do that or not.
Yeah.
So
All right.
So I
Well,
guess
let's
that means
just take
I'm
this
going
one.
first. Okay. I guess that means I'm going first. All right. Oh, I had it. Hold on. My phone closed on me. There we go. I've got John 14, 26 through 28. I'm reading a long one. But this is Jesus talking to his disciples. But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to you remembrance all things that I said to you. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You have heard me say to you, I am going away and coming back to you. If you love me, you will rejoice because I said, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I. I like that one because Jesus is telling his disciples, this is before he's going to the cross and, before he ascends into heaven. But I like how he's just telling us basically that, the Holy Spirit will always be with you. I'll always be with you. That goes to another part in the Bible where it says he'll never leave you nor forsake you. God's always going to be with you. And me and Blake have been listening to this pastor. He's a pastor in Orlando, and he's been talking about the Holy Spirit a lot. And that's kind of like we got to lean on the Holy Spirit for guidance and strength. The Holy Spirit is God's spirit. I feel like that's something I've been working on myself, is just trying to lean into the Holy Spirit more and trying to understand more and more of, who the Holy Spirit is and what he has planned for me. So yeah, that's all I got.
Good.
Thank you. So goes next.
I'll let you guys fight for it.
I'll go next. I got Psalms 27, verse 4. One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek him in his temple.
Awesome.
Love it.
Blake, you got one?
Yeah, I can go now if you want me to, or
It's up to you. I got mine pulled up. If you want me to go, I'll go.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead.
All right. I sent this to you guys the other day because this one's been I've been praying on this one. Let me find it again. I just hit the button when I picked up my phone.
You didn't send it to me.
I sent it in our group chat.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
I'm joking.
It's seek the Lord and his strength, seek his face evermore. 1 Chronicles 16:11. Just getting after God and just going after him, reading the word, just praying and fasting, just sending everything you have and just putting all distractions and just putting them away and just seeking after the Lord. Life throws obstacles at you like right now. Cody knows this. Dryer's been acting funny, so I've been fighting with that, and I've been trying to stay calm with it. But I think stuff like that happens sometimes to distract us from seeking the Lord, and when we put that, those distractions and stuff like that, we'll get those things done, and then just once we get that done, just kind of focus on the Lord. And I think that just seeking after the Lord, but like you said earlier, Cody, just kind of trying to find that understanding of what God has planned for us.
I like that. Good job, Christian.
Blake,
That was good.
close us out.
This is Isaiah 53, and I want to do the NLT version, but this is talking about earlier in the chapter. It's just talking about everything that Jesus did for us and how he bore his sins. And the pastor that Cody was mentioned, I had heard him talk about these few verses a couple of days ago, and that has really changed something that but I guess you don't think about till you hear someone say it, and it's really made a big difference to me. But Isaiah 53, 11 and 12, it says, when he, talking about Jesus, when he sees all that is accomplished by his anguish, he will be satisfied, and because of his experience, my righteous servant will make it possible for many to be made righteous, for he will bear all their sins. I will give him the honors of a victorious soldier because he exposed himself to death, and he was counted among the rebels. He bore the sins of many and interceded for rebels. And what that is talking about is how the Bible says that he who knew no sin, the perfect Son of God, Jesus, he became sin so that all of us who are sinners could be made righteous as he is. And God is basically telling them in those two verses that I read that Jesus has a reward for going to the cross and giving himself up to death. And that reward is me and you. So every single time that someone gets saved and starts having a relationship with God, we're not just getting forgiven, but we are literally the reward that Jesus gets for what he did for the cross. So every single time that me and you admit that Jesus died on a cross for us and that he is coming back again and that we believe that he's real, if we admit all those things, but yet we don't walk closely with him, we're actually withholding his reward for what he did for me and you, if that makes sense. Like we're saying, I acknowledge everything that you did, but I'm not going to give you the reward that you rightfully deserve for that. So I just thought that was interesting that me and you are the reward that Jesus gets for what he did. And I don't want to be someone that withholds that reward from him. So
Exactly.
It was awesome. It was awesome. Well,
pleasure being on tonight, guys. Pleasure being on.
I mean, it's
great
I'm glad
episode. Glad we're back. Glad we're back.
Yeah. Took a little hiatus there for a second.
We are so back.
We're so back. We're so back.
Yeah. But you can't close out
Did you touch my drum set?
Yeah, you can't close out a podcast better than that with the word. But thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah.
And as always,
go like, share, follow, please.
Yeah, do that.
Say we're back.
We're back.
We're back. So back.
Go Cats.
Go Kitty.